like these lights so much, I decided that I wanted to print some. I wanted to use some more of them. They throw just enough light when it's dark out to provide just enough illumination to be useful. Now, I don't like the way these things attach, so I have about another day's worth of work to get these things the way I want them. Oh, interesting. I didn't even realize it comes with a template. Huh. So, now, because I'm a dimwit, and I've been rushing a lot of things lately that I shouldn't rush. Now, I know for a fact that Hampton Bay, you know, well, we gotta glue it together anyway. Please don't break. 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 Something broke. This was my first prototype, and I actually, again, I got ahead of myself. I wasn't thinking about shooting a video. I was thinking about building a part. So, shocking, my first one fucked up, right? Actually, I should take it back. I don't have the prototype. I do have the prototype somewhere. I'm gonna immediately throw it away. I immediately tossed it. Stop pawing through the fucking garbage, Feathers. Okay. Let's see. Ah, look at that. We got an analog. So, out by the pool, if you actually watched my other video, you will have seen a sneak peek of what this is. So, around the backside of my pool, again, we've never had any lights. The occasional set of tiki torches. Maybe, I actually have a whole bunch of little portable lights. Yeah, not for nothing, I'm in my 50s. I don't party until all hours of the night anymore. And in the summertime, we usually start our parties around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And by 7 o'clock, everybody's already, the kids are all tired and run out and drunk, and the parents are, let's face facts, I'm drunk, and it's time for everybody to go home. But every once in a blue moon, we don't swim at night either, mainly because of bugs. But it's just something that we don't generally take part in a whole lot anymore. Now, like I said, I'm getting old. I'm usually in bed by 9 o'clock at night, even in the summertime. Remember when you used to fight with your parents about wanting to stay up? So, where am I going? Now, I decided that I really like this design, right? And I wanted to, and I have posts behind where the fence used, and those posts used to be hidden. Now I know for an absolute fact, because I've seen them and I was going to buy them, that you can buy post lights. I didn't really like any of them. Well, actually, these are post lights, but they're designed to be, they're intended to be mounted to the post, right? So they're supposed to be flush mounted to the post. Well, a couple things. One is all of my posts are a little bit off in height-wise. The other is I would have had to drill a hole all the way through the post to run this wire. And even then, the wire is only just long enough to just barely stick through the post. I didn't really want that. Also, I wanted them a little bit higher. So I came up with this design, which is based off the other design. Now, we need the analog here. So real quick, this is the original, this is basically the original design with a little bit of addition to the bottom. Well, you can tell right away that the post, the 4x4 inch post, is bigger than the light. It's bigger than this design. So I went back into Fusion and I redesigned it so it would fit over top of the post. Now, again, I'm most likely, I'm going to have to put a screw in them, but I can put like a screw in the backside where you don't see it. I actually unintentionally built a little lip into it so they slip right down and they stop. Right? I may not even have to affix them once I put the wire in. So, I ran the print. It took 17 hours to print 3 of these. I understand that 3D printers are not replicators and they take their good old time to do what they want to do. The prints came out acceptable. Again, there's a little bit of artifacting up in here, or under extrusion, over extrusion. I don't know. They didn't turn out perfect. Actually, this might be moisture, because it only did it on this one. I don't know, this one did it too. I don't know why it did that, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't really care. The only people that are gonna see the top of this are the birds. The sides came out okay. There's a little bit of I forget what they call that. There's some lines in it. There's some print lines in it that you can't really see. If you just look at it, you can't see it. But if you look at it at a bias, you can see it. Or an alias. Bias, alias. I don't know. It turned out fine. It really did. They're not injection molded parts. This may be moisture. I didn't thoroughly dry the PLA. I actually ran out halfway through. So this actually could be, and this is the part that would have been printed with the fresh PLA. I dried it for about 3 or 4 hours, and then I needed to press it into service. I shouldn't be in such a rush. But, again, I don't fucking care. What I do care about is my shit fitting. And not for nothing, when I went to go put this together yesterday, I came to a harsh realization that I'm an idiot. And I forgot to take into consideration the width on the inside when I extruded the edges. So the way I designed this in Fusion was I did a sketch on one side. I did an offset of 0.125, eighth of an inch, and I just drug the top over. I extruded the top edge, and then I went back and I extruded the sides. But when I extruded the sides at 1/8 of an inch. I should have extruded the sides at 1/4 of an inch. This camera's really starting to wear me out. I should have extruded the sides at 1/4 of an inch, or when I did it, made it wider. I fucked up. There's just no question about it. I fucked up. Again, improvise, adapt, and overcome. Today is the easy day. If you can't unfuck your problems, then your own problem is your problem. It's nobody else's problem. Tired of being responsible for other people's fucking problems. Obviously, I got enough of my own. So, I went back into Fusion and I printed these bezels. Ironically, these bezels are 3 times as heavy as this piece here, because when I printed them, I used the same print profile as I used for these things, which was almost solid. So these things are super duper heavy. But they fit perfectly. They fit perfectly enough that I'm going to put a couple drops of P6000 or E6000 in here and just glue these together and they'll fit perfectly. They fit so well that I don't want to put them back together without gluing them. So we're going to glue them. We're going to glue them right now. If you're not familiar with this product, this is E6000 Premium. I started out using E6000, the silver container. I've used a lot of glue in my day. And that shit, the E6000, which I don't have any of the silver container, is probably one of the best silicone-based glues I've ever used. This shit will stick anything to anything. It sticks glass to wood. As a matter of fact, if I use this to glue my nightlights together, I use it to glue the glass nightlight into the wooden base. And I've dropped a couple of them and I broke the glass inside, and the glass shards that were broke stuck to the wood, but the glass broke. This is some good shit. I glued 6 custom buttons to a shirt 23 years ago. I've washed the shirt, believe it or not, and the buttons are still stuck to it. So E6000, kids, it takes forever to dry. That is and it goes bad in the tube once you open the tube. But as an adhesive, this is probably one of the best adhesives I've ever used. So that's another thing. Just because I'm yammering, I don't know. Well, I do know. It's the fucking internet, right? So, and everybody's a fucking expert. It's the internet and everybody's a fucking expert. I was reading a bunch of, when I first got into this, I started reading a bunch of different articles, or not articles, but just posts on gluing 3D printed parts together. And, oh, there's the part that broke. That's okay. That's what busted. That's all right. Nobody's ever going to see it. Okay, so there we go. Glued together. That's the part that busted out. Fuck it, I'm not fixing it. It's broken right there. I ain't fixing that. So what I had to do was, I had little tabs on the inside of here. So I had to cut the tabs off and then ground it flat on the inside. So yeah, I read a bunch of articles on gluing 3D prints together, and well, not even articles, but just, like I said, Reddit threads, or I don't know, Bamboo Lab threads, to internet shit, right? Now, I spent a considerable amount of my fucking career gluing shit together. And the levels of assholery that some people put towards each other is just fucking flabbergasting. When you're gluing two things together, there's adhesion, cohesion, and then like welding, right? So you can weld plastic together. And you can do it with chemicals, like with PVC, right? So PVC cement is actually it's a chemical welding process. ABS and PLA, actually all of these plastics are designed can be heat welded, friction welded, you name it. But the truth of the matter is, cohesion works just fine. You know, it's like everybody on the internet's building a fucking nuclear reactor, you know, and it's like, you're not building a nuclear reactor, man. You're not building a fucking airplane, which, oh, by the way, airplanes are glued together. You know, you're gluing two pieces of fucking shit together. You're gluing a fucking light together, for Christ's sake. I don't know, it's just that people are so fucking belligerent anymore. I'm guilty of it myself, but it just seems like I hate to say the 3D printing community, but it's anything that has to do with technology and computers. It's just people are so fucking ignorant. Belligerent. It's not ignorant. Well, they are ignorant. They're ignorantly belligerent. Or belligerently ignorant. Belligerent. Belligerent. So... The other thing that I find really interesting too, in seeing this little blob of glue stick out where it doesn't want to, oh, so that's a little fucky there too. Huh, interesting. I guess it's just I hate to say, huh, broke there too. Must be something must have changed in the design. I'm gonna have to clamp this one together. I may have to clamp all these together. No, that one didn't do it. You look at the way things come from the factory. I ran into this a lot in the body shop business. I mean, a lot. And the way shit comes from the factory sometimes is just abhorrent. It really is. Cars used to be really poorly constructed. I can't tell you how many times I got into this with people. It's like they're bitching about something famously. This was it was right towards the end of my career. I mean, like, when I say right towards the end of my career, I mean like in my 2 weeks notice. I had this fucking guy come into the shop and he wanted a bug deflector put on the hood of his brand new Chevy pickup truck. Well, two things. One is the truck wasn't even like a silver, I don't know what they call them. It wasn't a fancy truck. It was like a base model, but it was a base model. It wasn't even a nice truck. And I didn't want to do the job because I hate those things. As you know, I'm going to put my fucking professional hat on here and say, as a professional, I am, for all intents and purposes, I was a professional auto body repair painter, an auto body repair technician. That was my fucking job. I was 30 years in the business. I'm a pro. Period. I hate those things. And I told the guy when he brought it in that it was a bad, piss poor idea. But what do I fucking know? What do I know? I don't know nothing. 30 years of experience doesn't mean a fucking thing. I'm sorry, at the time I'm embellishing. At the time it was only 20 years of experience. No, it was about 30 years. No, it was 30 years. So, the guy, of course, if you watch, the guy's watching me like a fucking hawk. I opened the hood of the truck to put this stupid ass thing on because I had to drill holes in the brand new truck. Which, again, it's a piss poor idea. There's no reason to do it. It does nothing but all it does is give your truck one more spot to fucking rust. No matter what I did or no matter what I do, once you drill a hole in it, chances of it rusting are pretty fucking good. All right, well, that's gonna have to stay clamped. So the guy, I have the hood open. The guy walks over and he looks at the truck, and it's a drip. You would like a drop, whoop, a drop of clear on the very, 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 very corner of the hood. And he points to it and he goes, "Look at that run. And nobody has any pride in their work anymore." I just fucking looked at the guy. I almost threw my fucking tools down because he was really kind of like an ignorant shit to begin with. I almost threw my fucking tools down and said, "You know what? I'm not doing this fucking job for you because fuck you. But that little drip of paint is literally on, not only where it is actually probably a good thing because it was right on the corner of the hood, which my experience has taught me the edges of the hoods on those trucks rust because there's no fucking paint on them. You can either get a run on the corner of the hood, or you can have no paint at all because Robbie the robot can only paint so much shit at one time. It literally, that was like I hate to say, it wasn't the last straw of my career, but it was right up there with just, this is why I don't want to be in the fucking business anymore. Because of know-it-all jerk-offs that read something on the fucking internet and now all of a sudden they're fucking experts. Probably should cut that out, huh? Alright. I gotta wait for glue to dry. Or I could just put them together. That one's gonna have to stay clamped for about 3 or 4 hours. That one caveat to this particular glue is it does take about 6 hours to dry. This one takes about 6 hours to dry. The gray stuff takes like 24 to 48 hours to dry. Yeah, so this is maximum bond strength, maybe not reach till 72 hours. Apply directly to each surface bonded. Allow to partially cure approximately 2 minutes before mating surfaces. Allow 24 hours for full curing, 24 hours for curing, 72 hours for full curing. I'm going to be able to put this together. This will dry relatively quickly. I'm not worried about these, but that one has got a little crack in it. So. All right, I'm going to shut the camera off, calm the fuck down for a minute. All right, the epic journey continues, right? It's 24 hours later, and my glue is dried, and I assembled these. They went together perfectly. So basically, yeah, everything's a shithole around here lately. I have literally like 5 different projects going all at once, and I hate putting my tools away. I hate putting my tools away till I'm all done. Why does it take me so long to clean my shop? Because I'm never done projects and I never put my tools away. So here we are. They're a little clunky looking. I'm not sure whether or not I'm crazy about them, but they're going to serve their purpose. They fit on this is the analog for the post head. Bingo bango. They fit perfectly. I'm not even going to fasten them. I'm just going to stick them on the the post. And I have the wires running out the back. Once everything's all settled and the wiring is installed, and I'm just going to run the wires down the back of the post. Yeah, I'm just going to run the wires down the back of the post. What I am going to do is I'm going to cut the nubbins off of these, and I'm going to lengthen them. I don't like the way these work because this is way too short. So I'm going to cut these. Probably down, I'm going to cut these and lengthen them significantly, but I want to leave the plug. So I want to leave the plug so I can unplug them and replace the light if I need to, or if I need to move them, I can just unplug them. It's not the end of the world. It's not a big deal. And the only bummer is, the splices are going to be a little big. I love all these stickers on here that tell you all these warning stickers that I have to cut off. Because my videos are so stupidly fucking long anyway, I just had an epiphany, right? Sorry the tripod's in the shot, but freaking GoPro, I can't get it any closer to shot. So, because nothing is ever right, because I can accept that nothing is ever okay or right or good enough. So this is the way that these lights are supposed to attach. So you plug this into the light, right? So you plug this. Oh, good call on that one. This is not the right plug. So that gets even funnier, right? But it doesn't matter. I'm not using this end anyway on this particular one, but that was a good thing I checked that. So I don't know if people are smart enough to know that you can actually take these types of fittings apart. So the way this is supposed to work is you have this little tiny short plug that's supposed to plug into something. I don't know which one of the lights this was supposed to plug into, but this is usually about 3 feet long. So this plugs into the light, and then you take this clip here and you clip it around the power. I can just do it here. I'm not going to do it all the way, but you just clip it, you stick it in there like that, and then you clip it, you push it, and then it pushes together, and it breaks the insulation, completes the circuit. It's low voltage, it's 12 volts, so it's not a big deal. But, and I'll show a little bit wider shot. I need more than 3, I need more than 8 inches, right? I need about 4.5 feet of wire to go from the light, okay, to where I've run the wire. And I don't want to see these ugly, stupid, too big fittings, in the middle of a post. I'd rather just have the wire run down the outside of the post, which already looks like shit, but that's the way we're going to do it. So this fitting here actually comes out. I can't zoom the camera in anymore. I'm sorry. I'll try and zoom it in post. So this thing comes out, and you just take a pair of pliers here. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but this is the way I found to do it. So there's a little tip, there's a little piercer right there. I grabbed a hold of it and just kind of wiggled it. I did break one doing this, but I have a bunch of them, so it's not like it's the end of the world if I break a couple of them. It's a little, there we go, comes right out. And then you can twist the wire here and get that to come out. Now there's no, like I said, this is DC, so there's no positive or negative. It fixes that in the light. The lamp assembly itself takes care of that problem. I'm gonna pull this out of frame real quick to get this one apart. Oh, there we go. All right, so that goes like that. Okay. Now the hilarious part. Whoops. The hilarious part of this is so this is the factory wire, and then this is the feed wire. So the wire is, the insulation on the feed wire is probably 3 times as thick as the insulation on the wire that comes with the light, right? So you have to strip the insulation off the wire and then feed it into the little hole here, all right? And then that's as far as it goes. And there's basically it's all bare wire. And then you take this little dooflicky and you jam it back in the hole here. And you give it a little push. And then it doesn't have to, it makes contact then inside, right? Now, if I was really anal, I would tape these up, but I don't really think it's gonna matter. I think one way or the other, these have a limited lifespan. So by the time this thing dies, this is one mistake that I made on the other one, is when I put it together, I didn't clock these properly. So when I went to go reattach it, it was a little fucky. So that, you kind of want to make sure you clock, like I said, you kind of want to make sure you clock these correctly. So when they go together, they go like that, and not like you have to twist them around. So that's, I kind of did the same thing again, but that'll work. And then you just take this little metal thing here, and you can see it's got like a little, like, pokey things in it. It's a technical term, kids, pokey things. And stick it in there, give it a nice little shove, if I had, like I said, if I had any ambition, I'd take a little drop of CA glue and put it in here. But I don't think it's going to be a problem. So that's how that's straightened out. And then that will go like that. And then you put the wire in there. And you can get these back apart. I'm going to trim this little booger off the back side here because it's going to poke the piss out of me. I know it. So I'm just going to cut that in there and make all kinds of little metal splinters to get in my hands later. Okay. I've tested this and it works. So that's another thing. All right, now this end. Now on to the other end. Well, first thing we're going to do is check to make sure we have a male plug, because these are females. Plugs only have 2 genders, kids. Innies and outies. Well, we need to make sure this end is an outie. All right. All right, so we're just going to cut this end off, and we'll get to that. We already got to that. Oh, allergies are killing me. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is light this. Watched a video. I saw somebody bitching on the internet about this exact model of cordless soldering iron. This is a Weller. I forget the model number of it, but they were complaining that they couldn't get it to light. Well, they couldn't get it to light because they're idiots. Turn it on. Listen for the gas. There you go. 3 clicks. Hold the thing down, and it's lit. I don't want to do that too long because it's going to melt the fucking camera lens. This one, it might actually need fluid because I've been using the shit out of it. All right, so we're going to let that sit safely out of the way because it gets hotter than hell. All right, now I'm going to cut this end off. Now, I've got a bunch of these, so I'm not too worried about screwing it up. Of course, I say that, and what'll end up happening is I'll screw them up. All right, so we're going to throw that away. And strip this back. Oh, like that. I bought these little cheap, literally $3 wire strippers at Harbor Freight. They've quickly become my favorites. All right, and give them a little twist. Trying not to poke myself. Of course, this side's a lot harder to peel apart, but there we go. Pull that back. Give it little strippings. Again, trying not to poke myself. Put your crimp connector on first, kids. I love these solder connections. So this is another internet thing, right? This is another infuriation. This is another infuriated me reading it on the internet. I've been using this type of solder connector. When I first saw them at West Marine, probably 10 plus years ago, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Now these use low temperature solder they're low temperature solder and they're heat shrinked, right? So these types of connectors, if you're not familiar with them, crimp connectors suck. Like straight up crimp Stay-Cons, they are not great. I've had a lot of problems with them over the years because they create an incredible amount of resistance in the connection. I did a street rod for a guy. he came in with a street rod. His windows didn't work. And his power windows weren't working in his street rod. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to take a look at it. And, because that's what I did. That's what I did for a living was, unfuck things. And he's right. The windows were really not working properly. They were just not working right. They were running really slow. They'd stop sometimes. They trip a circuit breaker. They tripped the window breaker all the time, and it was just a problem. So I tore into the door, and almost instantly I noticed that, immediately when I got into the door, I noticed a bunch of they were literally like Harbor Freight, cheap ass, crimp connectors, butt connectors in the door. I'm like, okay, well, that's it's not unheard of. I mean, you can use them. You can use them. I mean, they have a use, and there's no reason not to use them. But for some, so I started digging a little bit more in the door. I'm going to shut up for just a second. Actually, I'm not going to shut up. So heat these things up. So I break into the door. I get into the door, and street rod, pain in the ass to do anyway. I quickly noticed that there was crimp connectors at the power window motor. Okay, well that's to be expected. These are retrofit, power window modules in a fiberglass Vicky street rod. Okay, this is to be expected. And then as I dug deeper and deeper and deeper into the door and into I actually had to get into the interior of the car, which was another pain in the ass. But somebody had taken and used I counted 7 crimp connectors between the window motor and the fuse block under the dashboard. So it was like every time they needed like an extra 6 inches of wire, instead of running the wire directly from the fuse box to the window motor assembly, they just kept adding little bits of wire and using cheap Harbor Freight crimp connectors. So, and at the time, my employer, he's giving me hell because why is it taking so long to fix the door? And I showed him all the crimp connectors. And of course, what the fuck do I know? So I showed him all the crimp connectors in the door. And of course, again, what does that have to do with anything? And then I showed him a multimeter, which was like a tool of the fucking devil. And literally, I guess it was about 48 inches of wire. They had about 6 of these. Jokingly about the Harbor Freight. This is Harbor Freight heat shrink tubing, but it's fine for what we're doing. I showed him the voltage drop. I hooked it up directly to a car battery, and I showed him the voltage drop. Well, the first thing I showed him was the impedance on the wire, impedance, ohms. I might as well have been speaking fucking Chinese to him. So I showed him the voltage drop. Instead, I switched the meter over to... voltage, and showed him the voltage drop with all of the crimp connectors in it, and it went from 12 volts to like 6 in a matter of 48 inches, and I'm like, this is why the door's not working. And he got real quiet, and the reason he got real quiet, and I came to find out later, is it was because he was the one that did it. Right? Okay, so now that's the other end. That's simple, man. So now I'll let that cool off for just a second. Now we have relatively decent, I wish it didn't have the writing on it. This writing actually wipes off with a little bit of lacquer thinner, or 2+2. Takes that writing right off of there. You don't see it. Doesn't really matter. Let that cool off. Now, you can just plug this in. And, I don't want to actually plug that in because I don't want to have to force it back apart because they're a little bit... Once these things go together, they don't want to come apart. Oh, they have nice little arrows on them to show you how to do it. All right, so there you go. That's how I connect. That's how I did the, I guess for the sake of argument, the male end. And then this end over here, this is a new one, so I got to do the end on this one too. But there you go. That's how you lengthen them, and you don't look like a mook when you do it. So here they are on the back side. I didn't really make a whole lot of an attempt to hide the wiring because it is the back side of the fence. And again, leaving it exposed, I'm not crazy about it, but it is what it is. So here's the real funny thing. Because everyone loves to wallow in my own, or everybody loves to rejoice in my misery. Look what I fucking did. Dude. Okay, moment of truth here. They don't look bad. Now let's do this one. I'm actually going to wait until nighttime. I may tip them. I may cock them a little bit because they're this way. So I actually kind of want them like that a little bit more so they shine down. Yeah, that may end up be. We'll see. But that's what we got. What I ought to do, and I still might, is I might trim these down. I might cut these posts down. I left them high because I'm not sure whether or not I'm gonna raise this fence or put something else between the top of this shitty wire and the top of the fence. Believe it or not, this fence is code for a pool, believe it or not. That's all I need to do. So that's what it's getting. Yeah, so if I'm within code, then I'm within code. And that's all I give a shit about. That, and all this fence does is keep the little dogs in and my ducks. But it doesn't do anything else. It's not meant to keep adults out. That's what that one's for. So if I didn't show in the other videos, so this is my power supply. This is actually switched. So the way this is going to work is you can set it for on at dusk off, auto on off, or runtime. It's going to be set for runtime, and it'll be an hour. So I can set it for an hour, and then they'll run for an hour, and then if I can turn them off with the switch and then turn them back on, they'll run for an hour. This is a 3D printed cap, and then this is just not switched. So this is the only thing I don't like about the Vision Miner glue. I'm gonna have to get a little bit of isopropyl alcohol and wash that off, because that is definitely a I have to be very quick and careful with it, because the PLA and alcohol don't like each other. PLA and acetone absolutely don't like each other, but PLA and alcohol don't like each other either. But a quick wipe with some alcohol and that staining will go away. All right, now to edit these down And then tonight I'm gonna do all the wiring. So I'll run the wiring. I'll go on the other side of the fence and I'll run the wire. That's what this box is for. So in this box here is the wires, and then I can just run the wires through the fence because there's a cable gland on the other side. Run the wires through, run them down, run them along the outside of the fence here, up the back of the poles, and plug them in here. And then I'll have some lighting. Now, I'm gonna put another light here eventually. And I may even switch it. Then all the way over here, I'm gonna put another light also, but I haven't decided what kind of lighting we're gonna put there. Eventually there's gonna be a gazebo here, a hardtop gazebo, because I've sacrificed my last easy up to the summer gods. That's it.